This is the Hold Report for Monday, January 12, 2026. The Siege of Minneapolis. Federal law enforcement sources confirm that an additional 1,000 agents are deploying to Minneapolis. They will join the 2,400 agents already on the ground, several times the number of local police officers in a city 1,500 miles from the border. Agents are executing warrantless raids on private residences, pointing assault rifles at children in their living rooms, and detaining community organizers without charge. It's an attempt to make an example of a city that dared to vote for empathetic leadership over capitalist efficiency. The penalty for rejecting the ruling class is having a federal agent standing in your kitchen. In petty news, Fed Chair Jerome Powell has been served with a frivolous criminal indictment. The actual crime is refusing to cut rates as fast as the White House demands. While the DOJ squeezes the Fed, Trump squeezes the lenders. He announced a desire for a 10% interest rate cap on credit cards for 1 year. Capital One and Synchrony Financial cratered 8% in pre-market trading. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 opened flat. The market has fully digested the authoritarian pivot. Investors don't care if democracy is dying in the Midwest, as long as the supply lines for Amazon and Walmart remain open. Stocks trending higher include General Dynamics, Lockheed Martin, L3Harris, and Palantir, the latter of which ICE commissioned to create their AI system, Immigration OS. The militarization of domestic forces is shifting revenue streams home. The gear being used to terrorize Minneapolis families is a line item on a balance sheet in Virginia. Security contractors are seeing record inflows. Investors are betting that the Minneapolis model, ramping up agents for interior pacification, will be franchised to Portland and other cities by Q3. The logic of the siege is ruthless but clear. The regime views dissent as an inefficiency. The protests against authoritarianism are, in the eyes of the ruling class, a labor dispute. The agent's goal is to drive the fear index high enough that the protest premium becomes too expensive for the average citizen to pay. The crackdown serves a secondary economic function: disciplining labor. A fearful population is less likely to unionize or demand higher wages. Workers will accept lower pay in exchange for physical safety. While wage growth is negative for the 90%, the 0.1% ruling class is liquid and spending. The upper decks are ordering more champagne, while the steerage is locked and filling with water. As federal agents raid homes in Minnesota, the ruling class is consolidating assets into Louis Vuitton luggage and New Zealand getaway plans. They're buying bunkers and private islands, ready to secede from the society they are paying to have policed. Private jet departures are tracking 34% higher, and as Minneapolis businesses begin to fail under the weight of the ICE occupation, private equity is preparing to acquire real estate for pennies. The metric to watch is civil forfeiture. If the crackdown widens, seized assets usually enter the auction market within 12 to 18 months. In tech news, your phone's location data is being purchased by the Department of Homeland Security to map protest networks in real time. The tech giants are not just bystanders. They are the logistics arm of the crackdown, selling your location to the highest bidder and filtering dissent footage for advertisers who require cleaner feeds. While social media restricts footage of federal agents committing crimes, X promotes free speech that reaches the level of federal crimes. Elon Musk's AI troll, Grok, was banned in Indonesia and Malaysia this weekend for generating non-consensual sexual images, a feature he has refused to change or disable. In oil news, Maduro is out. ExxonMobil may also be out. Donald Trump said ExxonMobil executives were playing too cute. Chevron and ConocoPhillips were up in early trading. And in statecraft news, The UK and Germany are discussing deploying troops to Greenland to calm American threats of annexation. When London has to protect Copenhagen from Washington, the security architecture of the West is fracturing, much to the delight of Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. Meanwhile, the East is blinking back at the West. After 2 weeks of violent protests and a crackdown that has failed to clear the streets, Iranian leadership has reached out to the U.S. for talks. Iran shows how bad authoritarianism can get. Minneapolis is a test case of it on U.S. soil. The regime is betting that they can brutalize a major American city and the rest of the country will be too afraid to move. They believe that if they point enough guns at enough children, the people will stop demanding a world that values empathy. The billionaire class is not worried about the optics in Minneapolis. They are worried about the contagion of hope, and they are waiting for you to blink.